King 810 with their album Le Petite Mort, or A Conversation with God. This is going to be an interesting review, considering this is an interesting band, an interesting style that they really incorporate into their sound. Just whenever you think that you've heard everything in music, there is a band that comes along and proves you wrong. And really, this is incorporating ideas that are not necessarily new ground. They're old ground handled a new way, or a different way, or a way that is unfamiliar to many. So that's what makes it feel, and really, kind of glisten as unique. And the thing that makes it the most, unique is the fact that this is really 10% performance piece and 90% reality, which is kind of scary whenever you consider some of the content. Now, King 810 is from Flint, Michigan. And for those of you who are overseas or unaware, Flint, Michigan has been really just a horrible location whenever it comes to poverty, crime. It's almost like the country has 100% given up on this area, which was once very important whenever it came to the automotive industry. And this band came from there. They were on the front lines, as is stated in the lyrics of these tracks. They have watched people die. They have had to... This is a city where their lead singer was arrested at 9, and has stated that it was not out of context for young individuals under the age of 16 to have a firearm and have shot a firearm and really be defending themselves with that. So what we get with this album, and really with King 810 in general, is slam beat poetry that is almost rhymed in a way, almost as though they have taken the nu metal side, or even some elements of hip-hop, quite literally, to incorporate it into nu metal sound whenever it comes to the overall makeup, but a certain darkness that certainly might have been paved for by a band such as Korn, but it really takes it to a brand new level of depth and density. This is one that feels more so like heavy metal theater, and less so like just you pop on a record and that's that. And by heavy metal theater, that's almost an insult, because it's almost like the aim of this band, through its performance and through its music, is to transport you, if you were to close your eyes, to Flint, Michigan, in the middle of these battles, in the middle of these crimes that take place daily there, and sort of give you a dose of that reality. Now, there's not much that I can say about individual tracks. I'm going to just outwardly state that right now. And the reason for that is one that I'll get into in detail near the end of this video. It's one of my concerns for this band. However, before we get into concerns, I do have to praise this band for their use of very, very heavy and very dense, very dark-sounding instrumentals in order to sort of cascade over a listener while you hear these narratives, while you hear these stories being told by the lead singer. And it's something that's being sung, it's something that's being spoken. At times it feels like it's a form of rhyme where that is the goal, almost as though they're trying to transfer heavy metal into the territory of 8 Mile, and Eminem has shown up, only we go nowhere near as fast. Instead, it's just within its construct. It goes within the poetic idea, even though not all poetry needs to rhyme. And you hear a lot of things about the violence. You hear a lot of things about inner struggle. You hear a lot about this main character. You hear a lot about this lead singer. The things that he's had to do. The things that he's witnessed. Whether it be an Alpha and Omega, where he is speaking about how he feels that he is a king or potentially a god, whenever it comes to Flint, considering he's still alive. Whenever it comes to Give My Friends Back, it's almost obvious, considering so many have been taken from him via all of these differences that have occurred. And then you get into songs such as Le Petite Mort, which are just nearly 8 minutes in length, and that really sets this band apart. It really sets this band apart. I mean, if everything else didn't set this band apart, this does, because they are willing to go above and beyond the Call of Duty. They decided to go with an 8-minute track on an album that has been labeled by some as nu metal and as hard rock. No, this is full-blooded 100%. You could take this on the road and do it in front of 50,000 people on a stage, a heavy metal stage, a concert stage, or you could take this as a one-man show. You could perform it in coffee houses or in intimate rooms for 50 people. and you would still have the same reaction. You would still get that same sort of unease out of the audience, that sort of looking and peering and wondering just how much of this is real. Is this guy bleeding his heart in front of us? Is this something that is 100% real? Has he done this? Does he feel this? Or is this just a performance? It suspends your disbelief. It blurs the edges because you don't know. And that's the power behind King 810. This is not something for everybody. This is not a band that everybody is going to get into. And really the hope, I hope that that's true. I hope that not everybody gets into this band, because I don't want this to be taken the wrong way by those that hear elements of violence or elements of this or that and immediately feel like that's a lifestyle to achieve. And I don't think it's going to happen. I think that it's made abundantly clear throughout this album that this is hell, that this is not a pleasant place to be, a pleasant thing to be a part of. But either way, it's something that needs to be, it's a worry that happens. It's a worry that happens. It's the same worry that many people have with rap music. But also, I think that this is something that many people can reflect, because they all feel like they have suffered some sort of hell. They might be able to apply it to other situations and somehow, some way, find solace from this. Find perhaps a kindred spirit, a kindred soul, and that may be what actually helps to deliver King 810 some more fans. This is a dark album. This is an album that definitely is not for the weak at heart or the weak at mind. It can certainly make your the hair on your arm stand up. It certainly makes you think. It's a fairly decent affair. It can be tedious at times considering the style, but it is still incredibly engaging based around its lyricism. And for that reason, it's an 81 out of 100. It's pretty good. I actually like this quite a bit, even though half the time I was questioning what was real. Now, my concern about this band is very simple. We've seen in the past that some groups that have really been sort of, one-trick ponies whenever it comes to lyricism, whenever it comes to what makes them who they are, that they have a nice novelty factor, but then it's able to sort of wash over and sort of dissipate after some time. And that's the worry that I have with King 810. I don't want to see this band become a sort of novelty act after, 4 or 5 albums. And I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that something will hopefully occur within the next 4 or 5 years that will cause King 810 to really embrace other things, or something that will cause them to tell other stories that will continue to be inherently interesting, that will continue to blur that line between fantasy and reality. There's a lot of things that can be spoken about, but this is a man that's almost using it as therapy. Therapy from what he has seen, from what he's witnessed in hell, therapy from what he's done. So that's my lone hope, or my lone concern, should I say. My lone hope is that, of course, that concern turns out to be complete and utter horse hockey, and, the band is fine. Because, like I said, this, by comparison to what you got from the nu metal movement, is different. This delivers something that has that suspension of disbelief. And that's kind of nice. I want to know what you guys think about this. I know I didn't talk very much about track-by-track details and things of that variety. They really stand very strong on their own whenever it comes to lyricism. You are able to figure out what they're speaking about very quickly. It's not a secret. So, this is an album that needs more experienced than discussed. But I encourage discussion about this album in the comments below, and about this band in the comments below. I remember whenever they first came out, there was some sort of negative attention swirling around them because people are already starting to carve their name into their arms, similar to what Slayer bands have done. But whenever you consider everything that this band's about, where they're from, what their music is, and everything, I hate to say this, but I kind of understand where they're coming from, and I kind of understand why people have latched on to this. My hope is that it's being done with legitimate reason, not because they just want to be retarded. Let me know what you think about the album. My name is Coverkillernation. I'll talk to you later. Take care.